My name is Anna, and I'm from Ukraine. And many of you have learned about my beautiful country because of war that Russia started here 700 days ago. This is really long ago. And one of the questions that all of us ask every day, when will this war end? Seems like a question we don't have an answer for, but wars of the 20th century give us symptoms by which we can identify when war actually enters its final stage. So when will Russian war in Ukraine end? And when will we see Putin in The Hague? These things that influence on the duration of war are actually very simple. A number of people that can be involved in war, the resources that a country possesses, and of course, public opinion inside the countries that are at war and outside. Previous wars can teach us a lot. Of course, it would be wiser to learn how not to repeat them. But at the same time, we can get some signals from the end of the First and Second World War that demonstrate us when countries and aggressors are ready to stop, and why. First World War started in 1914 and ended in 1918, lasting 4 deadly years and killing approximately 16-17 million people. Second World War was bloodier. It lasted for 6 years, starting from 1939 and up to 1945, killing 60 or even 85 million people. One of the most important messages that two of these wars send us is that in neither case an aggressor achieved what he expected. But also there are symptoms when countries cannot continue the war anymore. And there are different aspects that influence on that. And number one, of course, is people that can be mobilized and actively participate in battles, and also a number of killed and wounded soldiers. So let's look more attentive on the numbers of the soldiers wounded and killed in 2 world wars and compare them with the recent Russian war in Ukraine. Unfortunately, Russia is a really big country with 140 million people in it, and its mobilization potential is really great. So approach "let's wait" does not work for us. At the moment, they have mobilized 1,300,000 people, which is less than 4% of general population available for mobilization. We do see great losses among Russian soldiers in Ukraine. And it goes without saying that sooner or later, and it looks like sooner, they will have to mobilize more people. At the moment, they have something like silent mobilization, working with various problematic, as they say, groups of society. But at a certain moment of time, they will start mobilizing people in open way. And they have more than 25 million people to invite to Russian army, which means that even if Russia continues losing their soldiers at this pace, they have 5 years to fight. And we all know they don't care about human lives, so they can continue for 5 more years. In Ukraine, the population is smaller, and we have approximately 10 million people available for mobilization, which is 3 or 4 times less than in Russia. Plus, of course, we care about human lives and we don't want to lose them. So, to succeed from this perspective, we do need your support, modern innovational technologies, and of course, wise military strategies, so that one Ukrainian loss counts for 3, 4, 500 Russian. Considering itself the successor of Soviet Union, Russia collected a lot of Soviet weapons. Some of these weapons she actually stole, took away, or made us give to it for gas prices or something. So at the moment of the start of full-scale invasion, Russia had many times more different tanks, weapons and artillery in comparison to Ukraine. For example, they had 11 times more planes, 13 times more tanks, and incomparably more various bombs, missiles, and other stuff that they use daily to destroy Ukrainian lives. After the start of full-scale Russian war against Ukraine, our bravery and the support of our allies helped us change Putin's plans. And all the weapons that we receive from our partners help us fight with Russia on even conditions. This is an extremely important moment at the very beginning of this war, when democratic world decides to support Ukraine. And of course, now is the time to continue, because we are closer than ever in stopping Russia and stopping Putin. Unfortunately, we see that some people are tired, some politicians having doubts, and of course, Russia is working in different countries with different media, and especially during elections. We have to remember that, and we have to remain strong, fighting the propaganda and fake narratives. But even if the support of our allies continues on the level we had it in 2023, Russia has enough weapons and machinery to continue fighting for 2 more years. So one more aspect in this war does not show any signs of exhaustion. 5 more years in people, 2 more years in weapons. Another important factor that many global analysts include in their prognosis of this war is economy. It controls everything in the life of the country, and of course it influences greatly the public opinion both inside the country and outside in this global economic environment. And here we don't see any signs of fatigue at all. Well, first of all, because during the First and the Second World War, at the end of these wars, the majority of people who could work were actually working for the military industry, something that is not true about this moment, both in Russia and in Ukraine. The majority of enterprises, companies continue working in their spheres of life. Russia did change a lot to produce more missiles and weapons that it needs inside the country, of course, with support of such partners as China and North Korea. In Ukraine, we don't have such infrastructure and we cannot build it during times of heavy shellings, but we cannot say that Russian or Ukrainian economy totally switched into this military type of economy. And of course, one of the most important factors, perhaps, public opinion and morale. For us, Ukrainians, this is an existential fight. If we lose, Ukraine disappears. If Russia ends this war, it is just the war that ends. So we don't have a choice to be tired, to give up, because it is about survival of our people, of our future, of our language, of our culture, and we will do everything to return back our territories and to return back our peace and normality. It is only possible after the fall of modern Russian regime and very serious work inside of Russian society. Because at the moment, after 2 years of awful war crimes committed in Ukraine, we don't see any signs of change in the opinion of Russian population. More than 60% of people support the war. Some are ready to negotiate, but only if Ukraine gives up territories and other stuff we will never do. So at this moment in time, none of the sides is ready to negotiate, plus you very well know we cannot negotiate with Russia, because any agreement it signs is not worth the paper on which it was signed. Having analyzed all that and multiplying this information with craziness of Putin, we understand that Russian war in Ukraine does not show any signs of ending. We observe some fatigue inside all the countries. We see some external turbulence caused by various internal, external conflicts, and of course a huge election year 2024. But Ukrainians are strong as always, and for us it is an existential fight. And we can finish this evil with your support, of course. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? When will Russian war end in Ukraine? Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. And maybe we can finish this war sooner than any prognosis say. I am definitely for it. Slava Ukraini!